Welcome to Real Bass Lessons. Let's do some funky stuff, huh? That little intro I was just playing, that was an E-flat minor. I was using an awful lot of pentatonic. Remember a few weeks ago I taught that lesson on pentatonics? And learning them in their different positions? Sure, the different inversions up and down, definitely I need to do that. And then I added a few little fills, which I built those off of the relative major triad. If this is E-flat minor, I went to G-flat major and I went. Remember when I taught those triads? Sure. Watch it in slow motion. Pentatonic. G-flat major. G-flat major. Of course, it resolves to E-flat minor. Let me illustrate that a little bit like in your groove, and I'll talk it as I do it, okay? Again, 3, 4. Pentatonic. G-flat major. Back to E-flat, obviously. Sure, I just did a little tense to that. Now, the hard part, of course, for many people, is figuring out the rhythm. We can all go, yeah, I understand the pitches, but understanding rhythm is sort of not the thing. It's hearing rhythm and knowing what to play. I recommend you just pick out a couple of great sort of funky bass lines, R&B or Motown, and just work with the rhythms so they become part of your language. Because when I'm playing, I don't have to think of the rhythms. I just sort of hear what should come next. You say, yeah, right, Jim. How do you hear what should come next? Well, you got to put it in. You got to be listening a lot to the same type of stuff. I'm not talking about you listen to thousands of records. For some reason, people say, man, I've got an incredible collection. No. We need, how about a couple of bass lines, just a couple of songs that you know, like, One of the things I learned years ago was that Cucumber Slumber song. I've taught it before. Cucumber Slumber song. It's a real early Alphonso Johnson. And a lot of those rhythms have stayed with me. Now, of course, I've learned some Jocko rhythms. I've learned tons of Jameson rhythms. But the point is I've got some rhythms and I work with them. Let me demonstrate that a little bit. Here's my groove. So let me start again. Here it is. Sure, so here's some rhythms. Good. Now that's fairly complicated. That involved a whole bunch of rhythms and a whole bunch of pitches. Well, you work that stuff out. You work it out, you work it out, you work it out. You might want to work on rhythms to start with just by playing, simplifying the notes, controlling, limiting the pitches you play, and just work on some consistent rhythms. Let's try that. Just my roots and flat 7. Rhythm. quarters. Put some eighth notes in there. Obviously, this is a 16th groove. Let's get some 16ths going. Sure. That might be a little exercise I work on. When guys say, man, I want to learn to play that Rocco stuff on like Jocko, well, we need to work on 16ths. Sure, but then the trick is once you learn to do them all, is don't play them all the time. Otherwise, it just sounds like a Tower power tune and nothing else. Let me demonstrate that again. Back to my beginning with 16th notes. I played obviously pitches there. I'd like a little fill. So that's one way to think about it. Is just get a nice little rhythmic thing going here. And by the way, again, how do you choose those rhythms? Well, they have to get in your head. You have to listen to great music. One thing to think about though is call and response, like this. I'll just do call and response with rhythm only. 1, 2, ready, play. Sure, I made a rhythmic phrase again. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but the trick I'm talking about here is not just improvising, it's picking one of those little rhythms and staying with it and working on it. And then you add a couple, and you know, how can I say it here? If we just use all of our palette, all rhythms and all notes, well, it just sounds dumb. It just kind of sounds like, you know, too many colors on your painting. You realize if you got a nice white wall and you put up some red, it's like, oh, that looks nice. You splash some blue up there and you go, oh, how cool. But then when you splash some orange and some yellow and some black and some green, all of a sudden it just looks like mud. So yeah, you have to work with your rhythms and your pitches. You have to limit them. Let me practice a little bit here just by myself and you watch. And then maybe I'll talk, or maybe I can even talk it while I'm playing it. Sure, you saw how I developed that. Of course. And by the way, you're welcome to copy it. Turn anything that you like, that you enjoy, you break it down to a really simple little part, cop that and practice it. Turn it into a little etude, a little exercise. You do it over and over and over until you own that little kernel of music, that little rhythmic piece, melodic piece, or combination. And that's how you develop it. Let me play a little bit for you, and maybe there'll be some more in there you like, okay? Now, let me get my computer going here. It kind of blew up on me. There we go. One more time. I'll do another different sort of thing, but I'll develop it again. Sure, that's a great one, huh? You saw how I sort of I made the rhythm, I made the emphasis in a different spot. I didn't go ba ba, I went bo ba do do. I delayed that downbeat of the tonic, didn't I? But then once I got it, I kept that same rhythm. So again, it's up to you to work these out. This is how I learned to play. When I heard a funky bass line that I loved, I didn't try to learn the entire thing. I picked one little phrase, man, 2 beats, one measure, and I worked with it and worked with it and worked with it and worked with it. And my playing is very simplistic. In everything I play, funk, Motown, jazz, whatever, if I'm going to copy a bass line from a great player, I just play it like that. But if I'm just going to improvise and, quote, do my own thing, well, it's based on those stuff I've listened to, and it's very simplistic. Why? Because that's how I had to learn. I was never able to learn a whole bunch of stuff at one time. I had to pick little pieces. But I think what that did is that gave me good phrasing, too. It allowed me to learn to play with good space. Let me try it again. Digging it. Hope you do. Pick out a couple of licks you like in there and learn them. Turn them into an exercise, get your drum machine going, and just work them and work them and work them. Things have to be exact, You can't just sort of slop do something and go, well, I kind of got it. Guys are always doing that, going, yeah, man, I can play like Victor. And that means they've got, one measure and it's not correct. You've got to learn things accurately. It's not like you have to learn somebody else's music if you don't want, but that's how we learn. We learn by hearing other people's music, but then when you work out what you're going to do, you have to work it out so it's accurate. So the rhythm's good, so the phrasing's good, and there's so an accurate groove to it, okay? If you like my stuff, cop it. If not, find something better. But get focused on some little bit of language. Fire it up.